This was a highly requested video. On my low light video, I had a lot of questions in my comments and also via Instagram if I could make a specific video showing you the plants that I talked about in that low light video, but actually measure the light. So with a light meter, we do have one, and I'm going to be measuring in foot candles and in lux. I'm going to bring you to each one of those plants from that video and show you the exact measurements so you can actually get an actual grasp of what low light is in my home. Hello everyone, welcome to my jungle story. I'm Jacqueline, and I'm hoping this is going to be a short and sweet video because I'm just going to bring you along, show you those plants. I'm going to try and not talk too much about them, but we all know that's going to be a little bit difficult. But yeah, I've got one of these light meters. Mitch actually got this probably like over a year ago, and I have no idea from where it is, but it was recommended online. And this one, oh, it actually still has that like measurement plastic on it. So, okay, I don't need temperature. So it measures in foot candles and in lux. You can see here. So right now it's on lux, and then I can turn to foot candles. So yeah, I'm going to bring you to each and every single one of those plants. I'm going to do it in the order that I showed in the video, and I'm going to show you the exact measurements. Okay, we're at the first plant, and that was the Dieffenbachia tiki. There is up here, right here on this cabinet, there is a mother Lifespectrum grow lights, and then actually behind this cabinet, there is a south-facing window. But it's on the floor here. You can see it there. It's in like that. Most of it is in this cabinet thing, but I'm going to show you. So we're first going to be doing, I'm going to bring you a bit closer. There we go, you can see a bit better. On this leaf, foot candles is between the 60 to 62. And above here, 67. Below here, like, oh my word, we're at an 8.2, 8. You see there? And then move on to lux. Okay, sorry. I just have to do some zhuzhing because I had to switch off. You have to switch off the temperature thing, otherwise it doesn't. But yeah, we're on lux now. So underneath the sleeve, we're at 80, 84, 81, 80, yeah. And then here at the top, we're at 600 and between the 660 and 670. I mean, like that. So yeah, that's the Dieffenbachia tiki. Okay, next up is a Spathiphyllum diamond. I've put it back in the corner now because that's where it usually lives. So yeah, again, situation with the grow light and everything. So let's put it back to foot candles. So foot candles here, 32.6, 32, 30, 31. Yeah, I would say between the 30 and 32 there. But then like the foliage here is more 77, between the 70 and 72, I would say. And it's just, yeah, foliage closer to the cabinets. I'm at a 18.0. So that's the foot candle. And then the lux here is 336, 340. I would say between the 345 and the 50, 350. And then over here, moving outwards a little bit, we're at 8. I would say between the 850 and 860. It's constantly changing, but it's because I'm trying to keep my hand as still as possible, but it's not that easy. So yeah, those are the measurements for that one. Okay, next up is like the pendant Anthurium. So I'm going to start off over here. I've got the wendlingerii and the spectabile. So over here, the wendlingerii is this one here. This is actually a new leaf. Oh, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. So yeah, let's put it back to foot candles. I'll always start with foot candles because that's usually how people measure, but this one also has a luxe option. So again, I'm not really for, I said this in that video as well, but I'm not really for the technicalities of these. This is the first time of me actually using this, but because you guys asked, and I also think it is a good way to actually really show you, because this is accurate. Like I can show you a plant and say, hey, that's in low light in my home, but that might be a completely different situation in your home. That might be high light. So these plants are low light conditions. And again, if you look at the luxe or the foot candles, there might be completely different measurements too in your home. So that's why I wanted to, you know, reply to the highly requested video and just show you guys the exact measurements. So foot candles for the wendlingerii, it seems to go between the 145 and the 155. That's like a rough accuracy. Oh, I know why. It's the direction of the grow light. So the lower, it's because I've specifically done it for this wendlingerii. I've moved the grow light like slightly down, and that's why there's actually more light here. Also, light, I mean, that is normal. You know, when light travels inwards, it travels like down. So now we are the beginning of June. It is almost summer here. The sun is out now, so I have decided to film this video on a sunny day, but there are some clouds, so it's like coming and going. So I feel like that's like normal. That's like the most accurate that I can get it. If it was a super, super sunny day and there were no clouds, I don't think I would have filmed this video. Same with if it was a incredibly cloudy day. This is just like sun comes and goes as close to what it can normally get. I mean, it depends on where you are in the world, but it's like a normal day here where there's like sun and a little bit of rain and some clouds. So they're quite windy, so again, the sun is coming and going. But yeah, anyway, I was saying light travels downwards. So the higher you go, the lower it's going to be, the measurements. And also because of the way that I've positioned this grow light. But either way, I think even if this was a little bit higher, that was still not, oh, my rainbow catcher is on the wall. I was thinking, what the hell is that? Yeah, it's because light travels, oh my word, I'm like rambling. I'm trying to explain this as best as possible as I can. But the higher you go, the less like light there will be. That's normal. So that's why up here, it was between the 135 and, yeah, around about 135. And then down here, it's about 148, 147, 147.1. Yeah, that's what that is. You know, it's normal. And then Lux, 1594. And then up here, 14553, something like that. Move it down again. 1567. So yeah, that is the wendlingerii. And then, okay, the spectabile. Lexi is right underneath my feet, so it's kind of difficult. That's this one. It's also actually giving a new leaf now. So let's see how much light this one. Wait, let's put it back to foot candles. Always start with foot candles. So this new leaf that's coming out has got 140. Yeah, 139, 140, or something like that, of foot candles light. And on the outside here, it's not that big of a difference. 145, 146. Yeah. And then Lux, 1523. 25. Constantly changing. And then here we've got 15, between 1560 and 1570. And then the other, we got two more strappy anthuriums. can see here, so here's the pallidiflorum. There is a mother plant spectrum right above. This is the newest leaf. Put it back to foot candles. Between the 7, 8 and 7, no, between the 70 and 80. That's just what I want to say. It's very hard. And lux is, come on, turn, yes. Lux is between the 690 and 710, I would say. So that's the pallidiflorum. Here you can see the grow light. So there is the mother plant spectrum. And then this is the last strappy one. So this is the vittarifolium. There is behind the camera, there is a north facing window here, but it won't get that much light from there. So from the grow light itself and foot candles, 7, yeah, between the 75 and 78, it seems to stay. And on this side, between the 30 and 40. Come on. Am I making you work too hard, huh? In lux, we have between the 860 and 880. No, between the 850 and 880. Something like that, yeah, it's moving a lot. And then on this side, between the 450 and 450, 5, what am I saying, 4? No, it's 5. So between the 550, 560 in lux. And yeah, those are all the pendant anthuriums. So we're back over here. So the regale lux was next. That's this one here. So the measurements will probably be around about the same as the pendant ones here. So we've got one, I know it's even less. Well, it is technically further away. Between the 110 and 120 in foot candles. And in lux, we have 1040, 1050. Something like that. Next up, I'm looking at my phone at actually my timestamps from that video, so I'm doing it in the exact same order for you guys. The marble queen. So the marble queen is living in the corner there. I'll also link, if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below. So if you haven't seen it, you can watch that and then also watch this video. I think if I put that in the same video, it would have been way too long, but also not everyone is interested in this. So but I also feel like, oh, this is so satisfying. Look at this. That was still on there. Yeah, it just shows how much we use this. Yeah, I just wanted to, I feel like now I can really, like, if you have one of these, you can replicate the same conditions very, very easily. Whereas if I just say put it in a low light spot, it can be completely different compared to, you know, again, I'm repeating myself, but it can be very, very different. So foot candles for the, okay, I'm going to go and stand on the couch so I can get at the top, because it is at the top that it actually gives me like the most growth. So I'm here. There is, again, these the 15, shining right in my face, the 15 watt SANSI grow lights above me. So foot candles, we are between the 50 and 55 up here, and then down here a little bit. Yeah, it's not that big of a difference. 48, yeah, it seems to be staying around about 48. And then in lux, 550 and 570, I would say. And then down here, between the 520, 530 in lux. And the next up was also a heart plant. I'm standing on the remote. So the Scindapsus exotica is living here. There's actually another plant in there as well, but it's also a Scindapsus. It's the Scindapsus silver splash or something, but that one is right at the back. It is growing actively though, but the growth is quite small. But yeah, this main one here, the exotica, is what we're gonna look at. So foot candles at the top here, we are at, yeah, it'll be around about the same as the Epipremnum because the lights are all, you know, it's the same distance. So yeah, the same between the 50 and 55. And then down here, obviously, you know, light, got a south-facing window over here. Here it's more. Now we're between the 60 and 70. 60 and... No, 66, no, it's going above the 65. So I would say between the 60 to 70 foot candles. And then in lux, we at 630, between the 630 and 640, I would say. And then down here, we at between 730 and 740. Okay, what's next? Hoya polyneura. Okay, so next up is the polyneura. And yes, this is a south-facing window, but as you can see, like this is my biggest Hoya here. This is the Latifolia albo marginata. It is huge, and there's pretty much no light coming through here. So, foot candles is going to be low. Between the 80 and 90, and here, this top growth here, we are at 170, 180. No. Between the 160, 170. And then this vine over here, we're at 90, 95. Then here, as you can see, it also does depend. Like, for example, the sun comes around like this. So this half, like half of the window here, only really starts to get actual sun around about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's not that long. Now the sun has just gone away as well. It's just gone behind a cloud. So it does really depend, but it is low between the 70 and 80 here. So yeah, that's foot candles. And lux, sticky. Yeah, I just recently treated this. Well, preventative treatment, because I lost my polyneura last year through spider mites, so I'm trying to prevent it. Lux, come on. 700, between the 760 and 810. I feel like the foot candle one's a little bit more accurate. So yeah, that is the polyneura. Okay, we're here underneath my TV. And I've got the two next plants is the Episcia and the red arrow, which is actually behind here as those are living. The Episcia I have actually recently, it still lived here, but I just put books underneath it. But as you can see, there's foliage here from the splendid that it's, you know, most of it is being blocked. So in foot candles, we are at, I would say between the 40 and 50. And then here, it will be more. I would say between the 150, 160. Yeah. So that's what foot candles. And then lux, between the 540, 550. Yeah. And then down here, 1,600. Yeah, I would say between the 1,600, 1,700, but it fluctuates quite. No, I would say between the 1,600 and 1,650. Yeah, that's in lux. And then the red arrow. The red arrow is here. Yeah, very lolat. Foot candles. I mean, there is also a spot like right like here where I'm holding it now. The light is coming from underneath the leaf. So that's about 90. That's coming from the grow light here. And then here at the top, we're looking at between the 20, 30 foot candle. Then lux, down here, 1,070, 1,000. Yeah, between the 1,050 and 70, something like that. And then at the top here, we're looking at between the 250 and 260. Okay, so the next plant on the list was the Ctenanthe amargis, I don't know if the right way of saying it. That one actually is not there anymore, but that one used to be on the spot where this one is. So this one was where this Anthurium is now. So yeah, the measurements for the spectacle and the lux regale is the same measurements as where I kept the Ctenanthe, but I've moved the Ctenanthe now actually to the back room, and it's also getting quite low light conditions there, but it's because I wanted to give my Anthuriums just like a little bit more love, and I wanted a pop of, I don't know, I really like that plant. So yeah, that's moved into the back room. So I'm not going to give you measurements of that one because it would have been the same as this one here that I showed you. So that's the only difference there. And then next up, Syngonium white butterfly. Actually in my last video, the video before this one, I did a huge chop on my Syngonium white butterfly. So it's actually is living there. That's where it's living. But it used to be so much more fuller and so much more bigger. So I'm going to get up on the couch here. But it's getting like the same light conditions, you know. It's the exact same. I've just put it back in the same spot. So foot candles is 97, 98. If I do this one. 94. 93. Down here. We're looking at 80. Something like that. And then Lux, 1010, yeah. And then down here we're at 8, between the 830 and 840 in Lux. Okay, I said I was going to do this in order, but there are some plants from upstairs, so I'm just going to do all of those in one go. The next one was Monstera deliciosa, but that's upstairs. Well, actually, no, that plant has actually also been moved into the back room, but I'm going to show you where it was to like show you that that's where I kept it, and it was also thriving there. I've just moved it into a new planty area because I wanted more of my plants there and keep the propagation room more plants that I propagate and plants that I'm also going to trade or sell. So next one after Monstera was Philodendron Brasil, and that one is here. It's getting very, very low light. So again, we're here by the shelf where we've got the mother Planspectrum. And in foot candles, this is also being blocked by a lot of foliage, but I'm going to do it here because this is where the light is like coming from. So we have between the 50 and, no, 50, 52, but it's not going above that. That's that there. But then down here, where most of the growth is happening, we have 13 foot candles. And then Lux, 590 and, okay, between the 580 and 600 up there. And then down here, we've got between the 200 and 210 down here. Okay, I've lost my order, but the last one down here, the rest I'll do upstairs, is in the corner here behind the billy, is the Aglaonema cutlass. Oh my word. That one is hardly going to get any light. So yeah, I'm going to try and move out of the way because I'm going to be in the way of the grow light. So I'm just going to do it here. Oh my word, we're at 9 foot candles. I'm going to move down a little bit, but it only goes up to 29. Yeah, 29. Jeez. And then Lux up here a little bit behind, most of the plant is behind the shadow of the billy. So that's 90, between the 90 and 95. And then down here, 280, between the 280 and 290, I would say. Yeah, very, very low light, that one. And then the rest are upstairs. Okay, we're in the propagation room. I'm on the floor on my knees here. The Monstera is not living here anymore, but this is where I used to wear this. I've put this here to replicate, sort of. But this is where the plant was standing. There is grow lights here behind me. That window is south-facing. But again, there's always been that shelf here. So this is where it was. It was also thriving there. And I'm also going to show you, because I know that I mentioned a Monstera deliciosa in, and I popped up a picture on screen. I'll pop up that picture again, but I'll show you that one after this. But this was the second Monstera deliciosa. So foot candles. It's not really going to benefit from this. No, actually, I'm not going to take this grow light into consideration. I'll turn this meter thing to the window because this light, when I kept it here, was a lot lower. So it wasn't actually getting any light from the grow light. Now this light here is a lot higher and it would actually benefit from that grow light now, but it's not here anymore. But you know, I'm just going to turn the meter to the window because that's where the main light source would have been coming from. So in foot candles, it was quite high. I'm going to do this. Foot candles were looking between the 40 and 45 foot candles. And Lux were between the 460 and 470. That's what that one is. There's more plants in here, but I'm first going to show you where that giant Monstera, that beast of a plant, I'll pop up a picture here, but I'm going to show you where that plant lived for over, yeah, that plant honestly grew from a baby plant to that in under 2 years, and that's where it lived primarily. So it grew like a beast in incredibly low light conditions. Okay, I am currently, this is the corner, this is my son's bed, but we have a north-facing window right there behind the camera. I feel like there's a lot of light coming in now. It's raining, but the sun's out. It's very weird weather today. But yeah, in this corner was that a beast of a Monstera, and it probably stuck out. Yeah, it took up this entire corner because I remember where my daughter's bed is now. You can see the corner here. Oh, that's so bittersweet. Non-planty related, but we moved last night. We had our first night of them sleeping in the same bedroom together, and it went really, really well, like really well. But I do have to say I did miss her because she used to sleep in our bedroom, and it's just like a little bit bittersweet, like another milestone. But I'm like, I don't know. It's very sweet. They like talk to each other, but I don't know. It's just making me feel like a little bit sad. I don't know why. Anyway, don't think about it too much, Jacqueline. She's growing up. You know, they both are. They're growing up too quickly. It's just all happening too quickly. Anyway, back to the Monstera. Foot candles. This plant came out very far. The bed was there, and the biggest leaf was definitely, I think I'm just going to lean it on here. I don't know if you can hear that. It's really chucking it down. I can't see anything though. Wait. Yeah, the biggest leaf definitely came out to here. So foot candles, we are looking at 39? Between the 39 and 40, I would say. Oh, you can't really see. There's a glare on it. And in Lux, I don't know if there's any point of me doing this Lux actually. It's mainly foot candles from what I've seen online. But again, I don't really use this a lot. Lux, we are looking between the 380 and 395. Yeah, between the 380, 400. Lux. Yeah, 380, 400. That was the measurements for that giant Monstera deliciosa, and it lived there for a long time. And fair enough, it might not have given me leaves as often as it would have if I gave it more light, but the leaves still sized up. This plant was still very, very happy. I'm actually glad it grew a little bit slower, because if I look at the Monstera deliciosa that I have now, it grows a lot faster, but I'm obviously giving it more light than this corner. I mean, you know, it's north facing. It's actually a corner window, but because of the curtains, it's not benefiting from that other window. It's mainly just that. There's no grow lights in here. And yeah, it was in the farthest corner away from the window. So definitely very low light conditions, and it's still thrived. So you can still keep that plant happy in lower light. You just might not get leaves as frequently, but it will still thrive. It will still be happy. And then the last plants are back to the propagation room. It's so weird. I was in that room and it was chucking it down with rain. It was dark. And now I'm at the front here, this south facing window, and the sun is like glaring in here. It's ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, I just thought I recently found mealies in this cabinet, so I actually don't want to open it. I did take the plants out of there because I didn't want them to get mealies, but the last two plants on the list are the Marantas. One of the Marantas I don't have anymore. I was talking about the Maranta fascinator and the Maranta light veins. The fascinator had a very bad case of thrips and I didn't have the energy to take care of it, so I threw it away. They were cuttings anyway. I still have some cuttings from the Maranta light veins, but I'll show you that one last because I've got cuttings and I've got the main mother plant. So the Monstera siltepecana used to live on this bottom shelf here. You can see there's nothing here now, but that's where it used to live. So I'm just going to put it, yeah, it was pretty much there. It was, can you see? There you go. Can you see there? That's where it is. Foot candles, we're at a 36, between the 36, 35. It'll probably be more like 34, 35 because underneath there it'll be even less light. That's that one. The fascinator used to live there as well, also thrived. Again, thrips issue just was very overwhelming and I just got rid of it. Same with the Maranta cuttings that I have here. This is also all that's left after the thrip infestation. But yeah, this one was also the same. So it will be the same measurements. Oh no, crap. I didn't show you guys looks. Wait. Let's just put it back here. Between the 360 and 370. I said no, between the 360, 380. But again, it will be a little bit less than that because it was underneath. Yeah, it's a little bit darker there. So that is the Marantas. The cuttings, the fascinator and Maranta light veins, I had them in cuttings, but the mother plant of the Maranta. Okay, so I've done some rearranging. So this used to be completely in the corner and the Maranta used to live on the bottom shelf. So I've got the Maranta here. This is the mother plant. I've chopped this plant up so many times and it's doing so well. Like, look at that new growth. So good. I only recently moved it, but I'll show you where this one is living now. My battery died, so I don't remember the last thing that it actually, I don't remember where it cut off. But yeah, I was saying that where I've put it now in the corner, that's where it used to live. It's not living there anymore, but I'll show you the measurements where it's living now. Also low light, but I know it will be fun. And that was only literally a couple of days ago, so I can't really say like it's thriving in that spot, but it did thrive in this spot. And the measurements, so yeah, we're right underneath a windowsill. So in foot candles we are at 104. Yeah, no, I would say between the 100 and 105. That's foot candles. And then lux, 1100, no, 1090. Okay, the lux obviously needs a little bit more time to like find its groove, because it was at 1,000 and now it's on, I would say between 800 and 900. It's constantly shifting. Yeah, between the 800 and 900 lux there. Here it is living now. So the window, south facing window is here and it's behind these plants. So the foot candles is between the 110 and 120 foot candles. And then the lux, 1,100. Yeah, I would say between the 1,100 and 1,200. It's moving a lot. Seems to be set between the, see now it's moved again. Yeah, between the 1,100 and 1,200. Yeah, I know that it's going to be happy there as well. I actually didn't pay attention if it was around about the same measurements. But I know it will be fine. It generally just likes this room, to be honest. Downstairs it wasn't happy, but I think that was due to maybe like airflow or something like that. But yeah, those are all of the plants. This is the first time of me sitting in my new chair. Can you see? This is a chair that I was talking about. I put like a little cushion here as well. But yeah, I thought I'd finish up in here because some of the plants that I was talking about, I've moved into here. So you can see here, this here is the Monstera. Actually, you know what? We might as well. We're sitting here anyway. Let's turn it back on and see what measurements that I'm giving it now. 450, 460. That's what I'm giving it for candles now. However, I should also measure here because there's a strelitzia behind me here. And it's mainly underneath that. And that's 230, 240 foot candles. And in Lux, 2,500, 2,600. Yeah, it is. I mean, you can see just by me sitting here. Above me it's like veranda-esque. Is that the right way of saying it? It's not glass. Well, it is glass, but it's not like, it's got like a bit of a film on it. It's not like pure glass. It's got like a film on it. I don't know if that makes any sense. But here we're at the other one. We're at 5,000, between the 5,500, 5,600, yeah. And then over here, this part here, the terracotta one, the one that I'm pointing at, that's where the Ctenanthe is living. So, but it's living underneath the shelf, so there's also still quite low light conditions. And there is also, I'm just going to tilt the tripod back. You see there's also a Philodendron above it. This, to me, this is higher light, but I just want to show you the foot candles because, again, if you want to replicate the same conditions, the same lighting conditions, I feel like doing it this way is the best way to be able to help you in that department. So, okay, foot candles. We had 400 and between the 420, 440 foot candles. Lux, we had 4,800, 4,700, 4,800. But most of the plant is underneath this shelf. I can't really see that. Were there any others in here? No, there wasn't. It was just that Ctenanthe and that Monstera. I feel like I might film more videos here. It's so nice and cozy. I need to sit for a second. I felt like that was a workout. Jeez. So I hope that video was informative for you guys. Again, I'll have the first video linked down below. I talk a little bit more about the plant. I just talk a little bit more about the plants and also how I like to take care of them, like watering wise, my past experiences with those plants. I talk about it all in that video, but I was hoping that this was going to be short and sweet, but I got a feeling it's still going to be a long video. But like I said, I just wanted it to be accurate for you guys so that if you want to replicate the same conditions, the same lighting conditions, you can through one of these, because again, what's considered low light might not be the same for someone else in your home or in someone else's home. You know, it's all different. You do have to take that into consideration. Very important. So I will have probably put some information on screen more about foot candles and Lux. I know that the grow light companies that I use, which is SANSI and Mother, they also talk about foot candles and Lux and all of that. So those websites will also give you more information on that. But like I said, I'm not really here for the technicalities and like the technical side of it. I just did this because I got so many questions about the measurements, and I just wanted to show you and give you like an accurate representation. Because now if you see that a plant in my collection is thriving, you can see exactly what the measurements are. And again, you can try and replicate it in your own home, and I really hope that it does help. I got a lot of comments on that video from plants that they've moved and see how they do and how they adjust. Let me know in the comments if you've noticed any difference or if you've moved any plants. I hope that this was informative. And yeah, I do read my comments. I do listen to you guys. So I just really wanted to make this video for people who are interested in the measurements. I think my phone is ringing. Mitch just phoned me because Matteo did a number 2 on his potty for technically the second time. But he had to FaceTime me for that. He's at his mom's with the kids. Celebration for the poo. But it is, as a parent, that is very, very exciting. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up and I'll talk about that on, a planty channel. Anyway, sorry if that was too much information, but that's just, yeah. That's what FaceTimes and phone calls are usually about, is, exciting stuff like that. Like they peed or pooed on the potty. That's, very, very exciting stuff. So yeah, I completely forgot what I had already said, but I'm sure I already said, like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below of any plants that you've like moved or anything, or maybe like any extra tips with other low light plants of other experiences. Just leave them down in the comments. I love chatting with you guys there and just carrying on the conversation, because I think we can all learn a lot from each other. And I hope that this has helped you like a little bit more of a more like accurate representation. I keep on saying that, but you know, I can't get any more accurate than this with the light meter showing you that. I've lost my flow now. I really have. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click the notification bell if you want to get a notification every single time I post a new video. If you watched all the way to the end, leave a little light bulb emoji. It lets me know you watched all the way to the end. And if you did, thank you so much. I will also reply to your comments even if you just post an emoji. I see you, I hear you, and I really do appreciate you for watching all the way to the end. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.